we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time listening, welcome to the podcast. Like I said, if you'd like the show today, please rate it, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you know when there's a new video dropping if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, wherever it is, Spotify or Apple, like I said, go and rate it and then go and tell your friends. We always say if you tell one friend, we'll double the podcast overnight. Big shout out, had great response on the last video, and we're at 50 so far, so I'm happy to be here. If you want to write in or talk to us on the podcast, check us out on Instagram or our Twitter at the Bigmark Pod or at the Bigmark Podcast. And yeah, like I said, if you want to hear something, we're 50 episodes in, 2 more weeks till a year. I'm always looking for topics, and I love hearing from you guys, and I want to know how we're doing and what you guys think about everything. I kind of wanted to talk about today's topic because in light of this weekend's events. So it is currently November 23rd. So this weekend, I believe on Saturday, the London Beefeaters, which is a CJFL team, so the Canadian Junior Football League, which is basically, I believe it's 22 and under. When I used to play, it was 23 and under. It's essentially junior football, like junior hockey. It's semi-pro. It's not, these guys don't get paid. I guess some teams out west, actually, some of the guys kind of get paid. But, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, again, guys kind of keep playing. You get a lot of guys that used to be, high school players, a lot of college guys that went to college to do whatever. And obviously there's no football in college in Canada. So it is it's a bit of a ragtag league, so to speak. Some of the guys that played too are also guys that, used to play in university, go to university, but just maybe aren't necessarily good enough to play. Maybe kind of like me. So in 2012, I actually played for the London Beefeaters. And this weekend, they had a huge win against the St. Clair Fratmen, who used to be the Windsor Fratmen. But London had a great win, and they somehow got a bye to the championship. Anyway, I'll go into that story later. But like I said, in 2012, when I was playing, so for everyone listening, I used to play football for the University of Western Ontario. And then in going into my third year, my old line coach, shout out Chris Bertoya, came up to me and my buddy B-Rye. And he did this with a couple other guys, but specifically me and my buddy B-Rye, because we were super tight. Shout out B-Rye. He kind of took us aside after, I think it was like spring camp, or was like one of the last camps in second year, kind of leaving for the year. Leaving for the summer, I should say. And so coach took us aside and he's like, boys, and we're like fucking oblivious to this. In fact, like we thought we had a decent spring camp, whatever, right? At least that's how I was feeling. And he takes us aside, and at this point, there were some other guys on the team throughout the years. Like, so we had been there for a couple years at this point. In our first year and our second year, we saw a couple guys play for the Beefs, the London Beefeaters. We always call them the Beefs. And sorry I couldn't wear the t-shirt tonight. I already wore it in a previous episode, and I vowed not to wear the same t-shirt more than once. But I am rocking some of the hardware. I'll tell you how we got that at the end of the day. But Coach Bertoya took us aside, and like I said, there was these other players that had played Beefs, and it wasn't really a step up in the world. Let me just put it that way. A lot of times it seemed like a demotion, you know, but the coaches put it in a way that, and it made sense. The coaches saw it like, you know, we're giving you game time looks where you can go out there and go 110%. Because for me personally, like when you play football, especially if you're not a starter, a lot of times they use what's called scout team, which is basically you're just playing the other team's offense, in my case, for the look at the starting defense. And you can get complacent with that. But my big thing too is I'm going against like my buddies, especially all my buddies on the defense team, all the Grove boys, shout out. But like I was like buddies with all these guys. Like the last thing I want to do is like try and rip their head off. And unfortunately with football being like a group combat sport, you basically have to have that mindset where you're going to fucking want to take someone down. And again, in practice, these are my buddies. So it maybe never really came across to the coaches what capabilities are. So again, they kind of used beefs as a little bit of a look. And in some cases it was then like a proven ground, and then maybe you got a chance to play for Western, which is awesome, and that's always the opportunity there. So Coach Bertoya takes me and B-Rai aside, and he goes, boys, like, we were wondering if you guys would want to play. I think he said if you want to play beefs, like obviously it was a choice. We could have said fuck off. We want to like really fucking try at Western. But, you know, like I said, me and B-Rai were going into our third year, and we're kind of like, fuck, coach is asking us to play beefs. Like, this fucking sucks, man. Like, we were pissed. And, like, we both went home. We're like, what the fuck are we going to do? We were living together at that point, too. And we're just like, all right, whatever. Let's play, and let's fucking play hard and just do this shit and prove that we deserve a spot on Western and a starting position on the team. So me and B-Rai go out to, I think they had like an early camp, fucking spring little tryout thing for the Beefs, where it was all local guys, of course. You know, it's London Beefeaters, so it's all guys from London. And me, B-Rai, and I think at the time there was like 2 or 3 other guys that were on the Western O-line that came with us. And there was maybe some other offensive players, and I don't know if there was any defensive players from Western at the time. But we go to this camp thing, and we hosted it at Western, and all these London guys show up. And truthfully, like, I kind of feel sorry for them, because me and B-Rai and all the people who were asked to play beefs had a fucking major chip on our shoulder. We were fucking rattled. And again, you know, like, we just spent the last 2 years just playing against others, like our own teammates, but other CIS guys. So we were playing at our high level. Yeah, we weren't fucking starting, but we were doing our thing. And we go up against these guys, and we fucking cream them. Honestly, B-Rai, tell me later. I'm not sure 100% if B-Rai was there. But anyway, we play, and we fucking lit these kids up, man. Like, it was just, no, I think B-Rai was there. Sorry. Anyway, whatever. We lit these fucking kids up, man. Like, these London kids. It was disgusting. Like, I'm sorry. It was brutal. As we go on today in today's episode, I'm going to refer to like Western guys and Beefs guys. When I say Western guys, it's all the offense, basically, because essentially the 2012 Beefs, almost the entire starting offense was from Western, except our one running back. Shout out Kyle Woldenberg. Fucking great running back. But literally every other single player was from Western, more or less in third year or second year at that point. And you know, had gone through a year or two already at Western, and just like we were running Western's offense with the Beefs, and it was just like we fucking knew what to do, and it was just like super automatic. So basically, all Coach Vuvalitis, shout out Coach Vuv, our head coach, basically had to do was just like kind of take care of the defense. And Ryan Clutterbuck, who also used to play at Western too, and was my buddy and a TA in one of my classes at Western, was our offensive coordinator too. So again, he knew the fucking offense really well. Josh Buttrell was our offensive line coach with Andy Rady, who they both had played at Western. Me and all the O-linemen actually played with Buttrell in our first year. He was in his last year at Western. So it was a really tight unit with the coaching and the players. So that was really interesting. Before I even got to Western, I actually played. Whatever. Sorry. Anyway, so this roster's pretty stacked, and actually at that point, Joe Cercelli, who's now the head coach at University of Windsor, is anyway, sorry. We had a really, really solid offense. And again, just the defense was something. By the end of the year, I think we had like 3 or 4 Western guys on defense. But truthfully, most of the defense were London local guys. And kudos to them. They stepped up many times during the season, fucking got after it. God bless. They got their asses fucking kicked in practice. Like, we took it to them. We never held back. In fact, because we were still on Western, we would practice with Western. So this was our schedule. Monday nights, we had practice with the Beefs. Tuesday, we had practice with Western and the Beefs. Wednesday, Western and Beefs. Thursday, just Beefs, because Thursday was walkthrough day for the starting. No. Sorry, my bad. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Western and fucking Beef. So at 2 practices a fucking day. And then Friday was walkthrough day for Western. Was also walkthrough day for Beefs, because usually our games were Saturday. Games on Saturday, and then Sunday rundown. Sometimes we'd go to Western's rundown too. So it was basically like 7 fucking days a week of football, essentially. Most of the time we took the Sunday off, like, let's be honest, but it's like we were fully still part of Western's roster. It's just we left halfway through to go over across fucking town to go and practice with the Beefs. And like I said, put the fucking boots to those local boys on defense. But my God, did they ever improve. And like I said, it's like 22 and under. So like some guys were like 18, 19, 20, just fucking learning the fucking game still. So like I said, good for them for fucking playing. When I was 17, I actually played for the Hamilton Hurricanes. Before I got to Western, it was 2008. And it was actually 14 years since the Hurricanes were actually a team. And my neighbor was a coach. My dad used to play. A bunch of people used to play. Anyway, and I got the chance to play. I started at left tackle. It was great. We didn't do all that great my first year. Second year was kind of a fucking shitty experience. Kind of halfway through the season, my coach, the head coach, benched me. And our O-line coach was kind of like, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, as a head coach telling me. And I guess it was probably because I wasn't performing. But again, like in high school, this was grade 13, so like grade 12 plus. Like I still didn't really know what I was doing. What I had learned with the Hurricanes was 10 times better than what I learned in high school. But I still didn't know what I was quite doing. And I think my size and relative athleticism kind of, I guess, made people think that I was probably capable of more. But honestly, as much as my body was made for football and I was made to play, like I still to this day am not like the best like football like tactician. Like I could never be a head coach kind of thing. So anyway, there's probably some mistakes I made here and there that just pissed this fucking coach off. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck I ever did to Jason Hayes, and he fucking benched me. After when I left from the first year in 2008, so this was grade 12. I was supposed to be going back to. I was supposed to graduate and go to Western out of grade 12. That was the major plan. My marks ended up not being good enough, so I just came back for another half year. So I was like, fuck it, I'll play Hurricanes again. But when I was leaving the year before, when I was leaving the Hurricanes to quote unquote go to school before my marks came in, they were like, oh, we wish we could have you back. You know, we'd love to have you back. And then when I did, they're happy. So it's kind of a fucking mind fuck at the end of the day. Really disappointing. Dale Sanderson was my O-line coach there. Don't blame him at all. Shout out Dale. But anyway, I just was fucking just so disappointed with that. But then went off to Western, and what I fucking learned, even just in first year alone, completely trumped everything Hurricanes, everything St. Mary's, my high school, had ever taught me. All that shit, fucking tenfold, just like the amount of shit I learned. About O-line specifically, obviously, and then obviously about the game of football too. Again, I don't think I could be a head coach, but I could probably be, if you made me an offensive coordinator, if not, definitely an offensive line coach. Because really, offensive line is so specific. You're almost like a goalie out there. Like, yeah, you're part of the game, but you're kind of doing something so fucking different. Anyway, I'll do a fucking podcast on that someday. So anyway, we're super solid going into this thing. I'm fucking rattled because we were at this camp thing with this stacked roster, and our defense is fucking kife at the time. And I'm going, what the fuck? Like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm hoping that these guys are the best in the league and we're just going to crush everybody, because these guys are just like an indication of what the league's going to be like, and it's going to be easy. I was also praying that it wasn't the case, that these guys were fucking like so shitty and we're garbage and we're going to have to play these teams. And it doesn't matter how well we do on offense if our defense is brutal. Turned out to be like they were kind of a decent indication of what the league was going to be, I guess. Like I said, our Beefeater defense, man, good for them. They fucking picked it up by the end of the season. But again, you know, we were fucking pissed too, right? Like all the guys that were asked to play Beefs, like we were fucking pissed off. So that kind of really fueled things. Unfortunately, I was working out so that happened in spring. I stayed in London that summer to work out. So I'm working out, and one day, shout out Brandon Murphy. We're working out one day, and I'm straight up just warming up. We're doing squats, and I'm warming up with like 285, which sounds like a lot, but at the time I could box squat, which is like go and sit down, pause, and sit up with 415. So 285 was a warm up for me. So Murph wasn't really watching me because I was like, I'm fucking warming up. No big deal. Just doing some shit. So I sat down for the box squat. I was in fact doing box squats. Sat down. And as I was coming up, it felt my fucking back just kind of did this weird thing. And it felt like someone was jamming a hot poker right into like the center of my spine. Like right on each side of my spine. I was like, fuck. Had to drop the weight. Killing, my back's so fucking hurt. Clearly, I can't really bend at the waist, so I can't like bring my knee up towards my chest. So I'm fucked. I'm like, yo, Murph, I gotta go to the clinic. So we walk over to the sports medicine clinic. The doctor there just gives me bullshit fucking naproxen, and I'm like, all right, like thanks. He's like, see what this does, whatever. And so my buddy takes me home. I have to go like face down in the back seat, across the back like crazy. And he takes me home, and as soon as I go and lay down, I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm not gonna be able to get up out of here, and I need like pain medication because I was just like in fucking pain. So I ended up going to the hospital, getting some shit. And I'm like, fuck. This is like I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks before Beefs is supposed to start. And Beef starts like kind of early August. It's like a few weeks before Western even started. So all the boys were still like, you know, getting amped up for camp 2. And so literally every day, I think it was for 2 weeks, every single day I went to physio. And this one physio at Western fucking helped me out. She got me back to fighting shape, and I played every single down of that Beefeater season. with those double practices and all that fucking shit. And my back never really gave me too much trouble. It was only when I like wasn't really warmed up enough. But truthfully, my back was pretty good, thankfully. But I fucked it up, and still to this day, it kind of still bugs me here and there. But yeah, I played literally every single down. I played right tackle for the Beefeaters, and I played every single down of that season. So I'll kind of take us through the season a little bit here. So our first game was against Brampton Bears, and like I said, I'm pretty sure our coach Greg Marshall, shout out Coach Marshall, was at this game. So again, every single guy who's out there that wants to play for Western is like, I'm going to put my fucking balls to the absolute wall here because coach is in the stands. And that's what, like, even Buttrell was saying, like, our coach was like, this is fucking it. Like, let's go. So we went out there, and very brief history about the Beefeaters. And this is even when I was playing Hamilton Hurricanes in 2008. Known as being one of the shittiest teams in Ontario, the OFC, the Ontario Football Conference. They're one of the worst teams in the league. So this is the first game of the season. We're playing Brampton in Brampton, and they're like probably just expecting us for bullshit. Again, it's the first game of the season. The fucking guys have probably been practicing for 2 weeks. They barely know shit. And we know this stuff like the back of our hand. And we go in there, we fucking beat them 49-9. We put the absolute boots to these guys, and it was like, they were like, what the fuck are these guys saying, man? Again, even defensively, we obviously did pretty well there, but it was an absolute shellacking. Really good, but still, a lot of guys had fucking chips on our shoulders. Joe Ciselli was still with us at center, which was great. The second game of the year was at Western, so we played at TD Waterhouse Stadium, and we played St. Leonard, which basically St. Leonard Cougars are from Montreal, more or less. It's like a suburb of Montreal. When I was playing Hurricanes, we actually went to Montreal to play, and Stade Bear at the time had like literally AstroTurf, like old school AstroTurf, literally like a Brillo pad. I like during a block, I like slid forward and slid across the AstroTurf with my forearms. Rest of the game, I was just bleeding out my forearms. We had white pants with the Hurricanes. I just looked like a fucking nightmare. Anyway, we play St. Leonard, and these guys fucking show up to Western, to London, like they fucking own the place. Again, historically, they probably would come in there and kick the shit out of the Beefs, but not in 2012. No point before had they ever had that many Western guys on the team before. Usually it was only like a handful of dudes. So this was pretty unheard of to have so many of us at like playing at that one time. So they came in there fucking warming up, hooting and hollering. One of their linebackers had like white contacts, so his eyes were like all fucking crazy, which I thought was illegal because you can't really tell if they have a concussion with those, but whatever. And they were fucking talking shit, even like till the first few snaps, like they were fucking just Jack John. And obviously being from Montreal, a lot of them speak French, and I believe at that time, I think that might have been, let me see. No, not yet. Because I think, oh my gosh, wow. Anyway, sorry, I'll get to that moment. I'll get to that in a second. One of our tackles, our left tackle, sorry, I was the other tackle, but our other tackle, Seb Pilon, shout out Seb, is from Quebec. Is actually his first language is French, so he could always tell us like what they were saying. It was always pretty fucking funny, and they got into a couple like French arguments, which was funny. But we just put the boots to these guys. Their defense wasn't very tricky. It was pretty standard, and our offense just ate that shit up. We beat them 27-7. Our third game was against the Burlington Braves in Burlington. And there's a there's an interesting history with the Braves and the Beefeaters. Is whenever they play for the Hardy Bowl, which is a memorial for Dave Harding. I guess he passed away, and had connections with both the Beefs and the Braves. That was a really interesting game because we were in Burlington. So I know my mom came. And I think there's a few other family members that came, which was fun. We were playing pretty hard. It was a fucking pretty tough fought victory. At one point, one of our receivers, I think it was Wade Geddes. Shout out Wade Geddes. I'm so sorry, brother. There was a block scenario where he was supposed to come down and block the defensive end, who's usually kind of right in front of me, and just his momentum, or he kind of just lost control. He ended up running straight into me, and I was so fucking mad. I was yelling at him. Anyway, we won that 23-22, I believe, with a winning kick. Shout out Zach Medeiros was our kicker, and he was like, this guy was fucking money. He plays in the fucking CFL right now. Shout out, brother. Tremendous kicker. As much as I love Liam Hiralahu, who's playing for the Dallas Cowboys now, shout out Liam, who was our kicker at Western. Zach was fucking tremendous as well. Tremendous. Anyway, we won that 23-22. Our next game was against Windsor, the Windsor AKO Fratmen. Like I said, that was the team that this year's Beefs played. But at the time, they were Windsor. And, man, that was a fucking brutal game. So they come into our house, and traditionally, Windsor had beat the shit out of London. Again, that's just how the fucking game went. So we really had that kind of underdog thing on our side where people really underestimated us. And, man, that's one of the most powerful things in sports. Like, honestly, I played for a basketball team here in Hamilton called Blessed Sacrament. Shout out Blessed. And our coach was like, I don't want us to have nice jerseys. It was like a rep team. So we just bought like fucking reversible jerseys, bullshit. And everyone had their own shorts. No one had matching shorts. And it was like, you know what? Anytime you have a team where they're going to be like, where they're going to come out and look at another team and go, oh, these guys ain't shit because they don't look like they can fucking do anything. Fuck them, man. They should lose. But again, that's just this whole idea that when a team is watching warm up, doing whatever, and they're like, oh, these guys are shit, or historically that team has been bad. And I've been on both ends of this thing. You get all cocky and you think you're going to win, or it's, again, the team is perceived as being worse, or all that shit, right? So again, you know, it's kind of one of these things where that underdog phenomenon, if you will, was really on our side. So we show up to this game. Windsor comes into our fucking barn. We start fucking getting after it. First play of the game, we score a huge touchdown, which is tremendous. At one point, so our fullback, Jason Kwan, fucking shout out Kwan, man. The guy played with all heart. The guy was all heart. And at one point, this fucking guy from Windsor comes out of absolutely nowhere and spears Jason in the back. Fucking gets him right out. And the fucking guy gets up and he's like, I've been waiting to get that fucking gook all game. And we were like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, you can't just fucking say shit like that, man. Like for real. Like, what are you talking about? So, we fucking go and, we're just fucking taking it. And still to this day, I can't even fucking believe it. Anyway, this guy fucking says this shit. My buddy Nathan Caranci hears it. We all fucking hear it. We're like, what is that motherfucker's number? Let's get him as soon as we find him. Again, I don't even fucking, I feel terrible for even fucking saying the word. But again, it still fucking gets me fired up. But it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, man. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where you got to kind of fucking get over it. So bullshit goes down with Quan. I fucking hate that fucking shit. Again, still irks me to this day, but what are you going to do? I don't think anyone really ever gave it to that fucking guy. At least Like, no one really had a chance. He was some fucking defensive back, so it's always hard to get those guys back as an offensive lineman. But we inevitably won that game 37-11. So that brings us to our first loss of the fucking season. This was a fucking kick in the pants, man. So, we're playing Ottawa at Ottawa. So the Ottawa Sooners, I believe, played at a Carleton. So that was all right. We got to fucking play at Carleton. This was actually before they had their team come back for the first time in years and years. And we're out there, we're playing, and our quarterback, Blake Huggins, God bless the man, was a fucking tremendous quarterback, really athletic, not gifted with a lot of height, but still really good at slinging the rock. The guy just was very talented. And he had all these games leading up to this game, was having tremendous games. We gave him all the time in the world, so he had nothing to worry about. But there was just something about this game where things just weren't clicking. He wasn't throwing the ball in the right spot. Like, it was just one of those things, again, being a quarterback is one of the hardest fucking things in any sport, because, yeah, you're part of the team, and, you know, just as much as anyone else, you know, you have your responsibilities, and if anyone else fucks up, they can fuck up the play too. But the consequences of a quarterback messing up are so much worse, and you just touch the ball every single play. So if you're not going to be making the plays that day, it's going to fuck shit up, because you're the start and sometimes finish of almost every single play. So anyway, we just had a fucking terrible game. We ended up losing that game 15-31. Fucking tough loss. The absolute fucking cherry on the shit Sunday was a bunch of fucking goons from our team left their phones charging in our bus. And you know what? I also fucking say goon to our goddamn motherfucking bus driver, who was like, yo, maybe go and unplug all them shits, because it drains the motherfucking battery, and then the bus ain't gonna start, and then we gotta sit there for fucking hours and hours, because they said they gotta drive a bus from fucking somewhere like 4 or 5 hours away, man. It was fucked. We were sitting in this motherfucking parking lot, going nuts, man, doing nothing, fucking around. After that loss too, just sitting in this, oh my God, it was brutal. We didn't get home till like fucking 8 or 9 in the morning, man. Like, it was actually horrendous driving back from Ottawa to London. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we bounce back next game. Twin City Predators show up. They come to TD to face the Beefs. We won that game pretty handedly, 37-8. Little tidbit from that game: one of their defensive linemen was wearing hiking boots. Great. That takes us to the second game of the year against Windsor, at Windsor, which was talk about a goddamn hard-fought victory. Goddamn Windsor plays in like some ancient fucking just old ass stadium that Hamilton used to have, but we bulldozed that shit and build new shit. But like shitty fucking grass field that was like pure mud. At the literally up until, so we're talking, this is our 7th game. Up until that point, I was playing it in a 2-point stance. So as an offensive lineman, you can play in a 2-point stance, or you can play in a 3-point stance with your one hand down. 2-point stance is essentially standing up. Just kind of gives you one extra millisecond advantage here and there. This fucking ref calls illegal procedure on me like 3 times in a row. And I was like, fuck. So now I had to go to a 3-point stance. Funny enough, I actually stayed with that 3-point stance for the rest of the year. Whatever. Who gives a flying fuck? But we played this game, and just shitty calls here and there. We're just battling. Again, Medeiros fucking shows up, and he fucking kicks us through the goddamn just takes us to victory with his boot. The guy was just a beauty. Again, I believe, let me just check. I believe he's on the, I believe he's on the Argos right now. Zach Medeiros. Yeah, he's playing for Toronto. He's drafted by the Eskimos. I guess he's a free agent now. But again, the guy's fucking got a boot. Tremendous. But thank God he fucking basically won that game for us. We won that 20-17. So it was tied up with like seconds to go. And if we went to overtime, it would have been a tough win. So that was kind of a bittersweet win, but we got the dub. Then came the game I was fucking really looking forward to. We're playing the Hamilton Hurricanes for the first time in the season. And I knew of all the fucking teams going into this, I really did know exactly how the Hamilton Hurricanes saw the London Beefeaters. And it was not in a pleasant light. They did not give a fuck. They thought the Beefs were bullshit. They didn't care about that we only had one loss. In fact, I think they only had one loss, or they might have been undefeated at this point. So they're coming into London, coming into TD with their fucking heads high, thinking they're just gonna fucking put the boots to us and just show everyone that we're bullshit. We fucking go out there, man. We put on, I don't know, I'd like to watch game film from it, but it was one offensively, it was one of the squeaky clean, just, I don't want to say perfect, but offensively, we were just unstoppable. By the fourth quarter, the defensive line, at least, was essentially just giving up. It was fucked, like, just crazy. We ended up winning 61-21, and those 21 points were basically like, I think, very last minute scores where we just kind of just mailed it in and put in a bunch of like second string, third string guys, just giving them a chance. So we fucking kicked the living shit out of the Canes. I was so happy that after that win, Jesus Christ, I felt I was on top of the world. And it was redemption in some ways for me against Jason Hayes, and just showing him, fuck, man, like I had this ability all along, blah, blah, blah. So that felt great. So that was our season. We won, we were 7-1 going into playoffs. So not bad. We lost that one fucking game to Ottawa, but we're going in fucking strong. So because of our record, we were first in Ontario. So St. Leonard had to come to us. So they come to TD. Again, pretty cocky coming in again. I guess they forgot. It was only the second game of the season when we played them. So I guess they kind of forgot what happened before. And we actually put up 27 points again. And St. Leonard only put up 17. Too bad, fellas. So that was a pretty standard win, but we had our fucking eyes set on the prize. So OFC Championship in London at TD Waterhouse versus Hamilton. We got to get a second fucking try at Hamilton. I will say this, in any league, in any sport, it is tough to beat a team twice. Especially if the other team is also talented, because you give a team your looks, they get game film, they know how things work. Personnel-wise, you kind of get to know each other, and it's not a surprise like it was the first time. So we're playing fucking Hamilton in the championship, and for whatever the fucking reason is, and up until this point, my buddy B-Rye and I were starting right guard and right tackle. B-Rye was guard, I was tackle. At this point, our buddy Mike Norman had joined the game. Actually, after we fucking lost to Windsor, or after we lost to Ottawa, of course he fucking joined because we bullshit. No, I love you, Mike. No, but he came on after the Ottawa loss because Joe had left, and I think our buddy Kane was doing some center duties. But anyway, we needed Mike, and Mike was a very, very good center. Him and his brother Matt played with us at Western. Matt was one of the best football players I've ever played with, and some of that rubbed off on Mike. But he was an excellent center. We had great communication. Shout out Jet. Mike, you know what I'm talking about? Jet? Anyway. So it was like Mike, B-Rye, and myself were pretty fucking solid. Like, I'd say from when Mike joined us with the Twin City Predators, it was the three of us for that, Windsor, the Hamilton Hurricanes win, and the St. Leonard win. Our left tackle guard scenario was kind of a revolving door. Seb would sometimes get pulled during the game, and then our buddy Nathan Caranci would go to tackle, and then Kane McEwen would come in at left guard. So that was kind of a strange scenario, but basically the right side and Mike as center was really solid, and we had developed excellent chemistry at that point. We were friends, and we were in the same year at Western, so we know each other really well. But for whatever the fucking reason, when we're going into the goddamn championship game, our coaches decide to start Kane at right guard instead of B-Rye. And it was like, what the fuck? B-Rye was like, what the fuck? We took our pre-workout. They literally told us like right before the game started. And I'm like kind of too in the zone to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I should have protested and been like, what are you fucking talking about? We need B-Rye in there. You guys are nuts. Nothing against Kane, God bless, but it's just a chemistry thing, man. You don't just like break up the fucking O-line before the shit starts. So anyway, we go into that first half, man, and it was like running on ice. They had our fucking number. I think they put up some early points, but we just couldn't do shit on offense. So we're playing. Comes to halftime, we're in the change room. We got Andy Rady, we got Buttrell coaching us. We also got JP Circelli, who's part of the Circelli family. Joe Circelli's in there. It's just it's like a brain trust, offensive line brain trust working. We're ripping the board. We're writing shit. And we're like, we got to put B-Rye in. I don't know if I was like, we need to put B-Rye in, or at least when someone brought that, I don't know if it was Andy Rady or someone said it, I was like, fuck yeah, we need B-Rye in. So anyway, once the second half started, B-Rye's in. Things are fucking cooking a little bit better. We're getting a little bit more movement offensively. B-Rye's out there fucking kicking ass. In fact, there was one time where, oh shit, I totally fucking forgot to mention. So we beat St. Leonard fucking or actually, it might have been after the Hamilton Hurricanes win, the first one. Shit. Anyway, we lost Blake Huggins at one point because he actually got called up to Western because one of our quarterbacks got hurt, and we needed Huggy for Western shit. And once you dress or start or do some shit, he didn't start, but once you like dress and play because you think he had some actual minutes in a game, you can't come back and play OFC or CJFL, whatever the rule was. It was fucking bullshit. So anyway, we lost him. So I think for the St. Leonard win, we had Chuck Wall, who was he came into Western as a quarterback, but he was our slot back. I think we had Chuck Wall play quarterback because our backup quarterback had sustained a brutal fucking brutal concussion, I think in the Windsor game. Anyway, so he was out bad. Shout out Robbie Lyons. But by the time we got to that Hamilton Hurricanes game, my God, I can't even remember who was in that quarterback. No, I'm pretty sure it was Robbie Lyons. So Robbie fucking comes out, and again, this is his first game back from a big concussion. We probably should have kept Chucky in hindsight, but what can you do? But again, we get some shit going, but Robbie ends up throwing an interception at one point, and motherfucking B-Rye saves the day with a huge open field tackle. Like, no one else around. B-Rye's the only guy. I'm almost positive the guy who intercepted the ball probably would have scored a touchdown if B-Rye didn't. And my dad, that was the fucking first thing he said, because he was at the game. That was the fucking first thing he said to B-Rye. When we saw him, he's like, B-Rye, you made the game-saving tackle. And it's so fucking true. because it was like, I think in the third or fourth quarter, but if they scored, it would have put us in a really tough scenario. And then at one point, Josh Woodman, shout out Woodman, who's in the CFL right now. He was our punt returner, and he fucking returned one to the house, and that put us up 19-16 going in the last few minutes of the game. And I don't think we had possession for like the last 2 minutes of the game. Our defense again came up huge, big stops, but it was one of those things where it was just a grind, and Hamilton had the ball for a long time. And I was tripping on the sidelines. I was so fucking stressed, man, because like you can't do anything. You're helpless, and you're just like hoping that clock just runs out. And anyway, it did, and I was fucking elated. It was so fun to win the OFC Championship, let alone against Hamilton. But again, just having that team was the first win for the Beefs. They had never won an they had never won an Ontario Championship before, so that was fucking amazing to be a part of that history. And again, you know, you feel for all the people in the organization that were part of teams that were just getting shit on and still coming out, and equipment managers and people in the office and like booking shit and doing accounting and all that shit. Again, God bless Coach Vuvalitis, all that stuff. So it was a very, very satisfying feeling. But coming into, so obviously winning the Ontario Championship, our next game was the Canadian semifinal. So there's obviously two Canadian semifinals. There's one in the East and there's one in the West. And we were set to go out to Saskatoon to play. In the week leading up to it, we had a few practices at home in London. And we're practicing, and me and B-Rye especially, but most of the offensive line and the Western guys, and therefore our offense, we're like really focused. Like, we want that fucking national championship. So we know that OFC championship was just a stepping stone to get to the championship. So we're looking ahead. We're carrying on. But a lot of guys on the team, a lot of local guys, a lot of defensive guys, you could tell they got that Ontario championship and they were happy. Whatever happens next, cool. So it was really fucking concerning when we were getting ready to go out to Saskatoon. We go out there. I fucking forgot my wallet, even though it was like tucked in like a fucking part of my bag that I searched like 20 times, but I couldn't find it. It was like in a hidden compartment, basically. Luckily, I had some cash on me, but it was fucking annoying. And thank God you could fly domestic without, or I just had my passport for ID. Anyway, so off to a fucking rough start. But anyway, we fly out to Saskatoon, pretty jokes with the whole team. We get out there, and first thing, so we're going to play Saskatoon Hilltops, which is their local team out there. And as soon as we get into Saskatchewan, they have a fucking city bus take us to our hotel. And it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, you guys don't have coach buses out here? Like, what is this fucking bullshit? I don't know what that was about. But it was one of many things that was like this weird fucking skullduggery business. And I don't know if it was motherfucking totally on purpose or just like here and there things just started adding up. But it was like, what the flying fuck is going on here? One of the like when we first got there, we went and practiced at a field that had like a foot of snow on it. And this is like October 27th, mind you. October 26th, I think we got out there. It's fucking freezing. You know, in Ontario, it's like 5 degrees. Nowadays, fucking even warmer. But at the time, it wasn't fucking very cold. But it was like minus fucking 15 when we were in Saskatoon. So we were like, Jesus Christ, the snow is fucked. I brought, when I was packing, I brought 2 sets of cleats because I happened to have like 7 studs, like big, long cleats, and then my turf shoes. The reason I truly brought my turf shoes is I was hoping and praying that we were going to play at the University of Saskatchewan, which is in Saskatoon. I don't know why the fuck we didn't. There was a game we all went to. We watched University of Saskatchewan play Regina or somebody. And so I don't think there was a game going on. Maybe they were using it for soccer or some shit. But what the fuck? Let us use the turf. Because the field that we ended up playing on, which was fucking Gordie Howe Field, Gordie Howe Stadium. Tell me what the fuck Gordie Howe has to do with football. But the motherfucker had to be an outdoor rink that they just put dirt on, because that's what it felt like. It was frozen solid. There was not a blade of grass, and they had just like painted lines on fucking dirt. So I went out there the day before the game. We went out there to practice, and I had my 7 studs on. And I could not fucking get a grip worth shit. And I was like, no chance in hell I'm wearing these fucking 7 studs. I'm going to wear my turf shoes tomorrow, because this is basically like playing on cement. I think I was the only one that did that. So literally, man, like all of our receivers, running backs, other O-linemen had 7 stud cleats, because the Hilltops in the paper leading up to it were like, it's going to be a mud bowl. Watch out. So this is what I'm saying. Shit like this was like, what the fuck? Were they fucking with us? And all the guys on the Hilltops are out there. Some of them are in like fucking basically straight running shoes. And also, it's so cold, -15. Like, I basically had to do 2 warm-ups to play this game, because I was cold. Like, I did our normal warm-up, whatever, leg kicks and shit. And I was like, I'm not warm enough. I had to do another one. So, but these guys are out there, short sleeves, short pants, no Under Armour. Animals, savages, fucking big burly farm boys that don't give a flying fuck. But good football players, really fundamental, solid. Another kind of shit leading into it is our team was like, not only our demeanor, but our prep was bullshit. Like we either didn't get good film, which is another fucking fuckery, skullduggery moment, but we didn't watch any film, which is like, what? Why not? So it was just a weird preparation, even kind of coming down from the coaches too, which was strange looking back on it. But again, what can you do? And then the other fucking thing that kicked me in the goddamn bag. I've never felt like this in my entire life. Nathan, this is right before the game. After my 2 warm-ups, shit's ready, about to go. We're in the fucking change room, putting on 2 sets of gloves. Caranci gives me some fucking shroom tech from On It. I fucking take it. I feel like I'm fucking Superman Joe Rogan. And all of a sudden, this soldier comes in. Straight up soldier. Fucking wearing green shit, hat, medals, with the fucking what? And I'm like, all right, what's this guy about? So apparently this dude from London used to play Beefeaters and was stationed like 8 the fuck hours north of Saskatoon, in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan, heard the Beefs were in this game and came down to watch us. So someone had the bright idea of bringing him in to do like a pregame speech. So this guy goes into the speech. He's like from, I guess he did a tour in Afghanistan or something with the Canadian Armed Forces. And this guy goes into the story about he saved 40 other soldiers and civilians from fucking Taliban or whatever, on like the top of a Humvee with the fucking gunner, like fucking COD shit. Like, he's telling us about saving lives, doing this and that, laying down, and he's equating it with like being a football player. You know, you're out there putting your fucking life out there for your brother next to you. And I'm looking over to my boys, and again, you know, not to sound like fucking pieces of shit, but all the offensive linemen, and historically speaking, offensive linemen are usually some of the more intelligent guys on the football team. And we're all in university at the time. We're all fairly intelligent guys. We're all fucking looking at each other going, what the fuck is this guy talking about, man? Like, we are nothing at all. At least this was my feeling. And a lot of the other guys concurred. But I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, we are nothing like these soldiers out there putting their lives out there, being real men. And we're like, I just felt all my fucking shit was so deflated, and I just felt so small. And I was like, man, thank you so much. Like, I wasn't mad at the guy, because I was like, fuck, this guy put it all on the line for his country and shit. And I'm like, God damn, I am not a man. Where, again, like I said, going to the football game, you kind of want to feel like you're the man. I'd rather someone just random guy come in and be like, you guys are the fucking shit. Go out there and fucking rip some throats. Like, whatever. But this guy just took all the wind out of our sails, man. And it was just like, oh, fuck. We got to go out there in this cold ass shit against these fucking animales and just have to get after it. So we're playing first motherfucking snap of the game. Kyle gets the ball, fumbles it. I go to jump on it because it was kind of near me. And, you know, when the ball's near, you kind of have to do a bit of like an obligatory fucking try and go for it. I jump for it. It literally felt... Go outside right now, wherever you are listening. Go outside and just throw yourself on the street. See how that feels. Because that's exactly how it felt when I jumped for this ball. And I vowed to myself, no matter what the fuck, unless this ball rolls at my feet, I am not going down to cover this shit because it is hard as a motherfucker. We continue to go out there. Guys are slip sliding. No one can cut. Our running backs can't cut. Our receivers can't run their routes. We're throwing picks. It's minus 15. Robbie Lyons is from fucking Florida. He's cold as shit. We're all cold as shit. Our defense is trying our best, but we just fucking shit the bed. It was on TV. My pops was watching. I was like, man, this fucking game. It just felt like sand just running through our fingers. At one point, Kyle, our running back, gets fucking tackled. And he kind of got like I don't want to say, maybe like it was like a suplex, but like body slammed. And his fucking head hit the ground, man. And it sounded like, I don't know if anyone else has heard this, but anyone listening, you'll know what I'm talking about. It sounded like just dropping your helmet on the hallway floor, like in high school when you're like getting ready, like in your lockers, and you just drop your helmet, and that's the sound of that plastic hitting the ground. That's what it sounded like. And me and Crancy go run over to him. We just see him, his fucking eyes are open, and we're screaming, fucking medic, come out here. It was like, again, as much as that fucking soldier, I think, was way off base equating football with war, that's kind of what it felt like. Again, it was just like the bullets were flying. It was just, God damn it, such a tough loss. And we ended up losing that game 51-7. The offense didn't even score a touchdown. It was actually a special teams that ran a fake that we put 7 points. So at least we didn't get fucking goose egged, but we were really close. 51, man. They fucked us. But again, super solid team. I don't know if they actually went on. I should have looked. I don't know if they went on to win the Canadian Championship, but what can you do? Like I said, by the end of the season, we're doing the rundown. Everyone's happy because we won the OFC. Again, first time in OFC first time in Beef's history that they won an Ontario title. So we got rings for it. We got rings to commemorate. Like I said, I'm wearing mine right now. It's got my name on it, my number. Yep, and then it says London versus Ham, 1916 was the score. It's got some bling, 2012 baby. I'll show a picture. But again, it's kind of one of those things. Usually you don't, like, I know at Western, when you'd win the Yates, you wouldn't get a ring. You only get a ring for the Vanier, the Canadian Championship. But again, super special, and I'm proud to be a part of that history with the London Beefeaters. By the end of the year, one of my coaches, Mike Cercelli, Joe and JP Cercelli's father, actually, who was part of the management and part of the coaching staff for the Beefs, came up to me and said, we really considered you for an All-Canadian, which is basically MVP, or not MVP, sorry. It's basically like an all-star position on this team for all of Canada. We ended up giving it to Nathan Crancy. Shout out, brother. He was basically the captain of the O-line, and they said if they could give the All-Canadian nod to the entire O-line, they would have. Again, we were super solid. We barely gave up any fucking sacks. Like, we were super fucking solid, man. Like, God bless. Obviously, we weren't CIS necessarily material, but we were really fucking good when it comes to CJFL. So that was I felt honored and it was special for my coach to at least come up and tell me after that I was on the that I was on the short list at least. And again, you know, like I fucking played every single down. So I played my motherfucking heart out. And again, you know, like I said, I did this whole podcast this weekend in honor of the Beefs winning too. And they actually won crazy. So shout out to my boys again, Nathan Caranci, Alex Karowski, Connor Elliott, all you boys out there that are still coaching. Love you. Big win. Congratulations. I was talking to my buddy B-Ry about it, and he gave me kind of the skinny on the game. So I got a text from here. I'm going to read it. So he's telling the story here. Starts with, it's late in the fourth quarter. A snap over the punter's head was recovered by London in the end zone to make it 7-14. So at the time, the frat men from fucking Windsor, St. Clair, were winning 14-0. So the Fratmen couldn't move the ball on its next possession, and the Beefeaters get the ball back, and then the Beefeaters struck a 40-yard touchdown pass to tie the game 14-14 with 1 minute to go in the game. On the ensuing kickoff, the Fratmen fumble the ball, setting the stage for London to hit the Rouge to win it. As time expired and they advanced to the national championship. So a Rouge, for everyone listening who doesn't know Canadian football rules, if you kick the ball through the end zone, it goes to the other side. I believe you get 1 point, which is fucking crazy. You get 1 point if it just goes to the back of the end zone. I don't know. It's fucking Canadian. But it worked for the Beefs, and they fucking came back in the fourth quarter. Crazy, tremendous. And somehow they get to go straight to the national championship, so fucking good for them. I hope they win. I think they get to play the Regina Rams, who are a solid team. They beat the Hilltops, so fuck you, Hilltops. But anyway, go Beefs. Whenever the championship is, I believe it's either this weekend or next. Fucking go Beefs. You guys are the best. It was a pleasure playing with you guys. It was an honor, although it kind of started really tough for me being asked by Coach Bertoya to go and play. It turned out to be such a rewarding experience and something I'll cherish, you know, for the rest of my days. And it was great. Unfortunately, by the end of it, my fucking shoulder was so worn out, I kind of had to hang up the cleats. I had a shoulder surgery at the end of that season. And my surgeon basically said you can continue to play football, but you might lose the use of your left arm. And the first thing I thought of was if I can't play music, I can't do shit. B-Ry was getting some shots at first team offense, and then he fucking blew out his knee, so we both got injured and fucking retired from football in the same year. So again, shout out my boy B-Ry, shout out my boy Mikey. Again, Caranci, all the offensive line, all the offense. Shout out Jason Kwan, shout out Blake Huggins, all these boys. I love you. Chuck Wall, another Hamilton boy. We fucked up those Hurricanes, didn't we, brother? Again, thank you so much for listening. If you guys like the podcast, please rate it, leave us a comment, hit the bell, hit the notifications so you know when we drop a new video and we drop a new episode. Go tell your friends about it. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Twitter at the Bigmark Pod, at the Bigmark Podcast. And go check out our Patreon. You can support the podcast there. Patreon.com/thebigmarkpod. There's different levels there where you can contribute and we can keep this going. Again, I love doing this for you. 50 episodes, everybody. 2 more weeks till the year. Again, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Go Beefs. Peace.